My name's Mark, like Carl said. Carl, the truth of it is he asked me a little while ago to come talk about marketing. So I was just in my room. The rooms here are nice, and just turned the TV on, and an Oprah rerun came on. And it was really good. George Clooney was going to be on, I think probably one of the top 5. And I'm feeling a little tired. And who gives a damn about marketing anyway? I texted Carl and asked if he could just do this for me. And he said no. So, hi. Okay, so we won't talk about marketing, because that's boring as hell. I mean, the definition, right? Selling things to people they don't need, right? Or is that advertising? Or is there a difference? I don't know. Anyway, let's forget about marketing. This is Owner Summit. So that means you all are owners, and that's more interesting than marketing. What does that mean? Well, I think it means courage. You're going to be an entrepreneur, and I'm going to use the word entrepreneur and the word owner interchangeably for the next hour. You have to have courage, right? Maybe you're crazy. The thing about ownership is that owners aren't canonized. They're not nominated. They're not sworn in by some kind of birthright. It's a choice. More than a choice, I'd say it's a bet. And for all of you, the decision to own part or whole of a firm was and is the bet of your life. These are high stakes. If this fails, there are problems. But for some reason, you all believed that you could do this. You could make it happen. You were going to be a better leader than the person you're working for. You saw something in the market that no one else saw. And so you decided to become an owner, which took a ton of that. No matter what, no matter how humble you are, it took a universe of that to get to where you are today. The other thing about being an owner, I guess, would be hope. Owners are optimists. You have to be. There's no other way you do this otherwise. The sun will come out tomorrow, something to fight for. You have a belief in a better future. Or else, again, you wouldn't have the energy or will to do this every single day as you've done. When you decided to do this, to become an owner, right there, day one of that, you separate yourself out from 95% of the population. You're in the rare 5%. If something happens in this room, we're going to have like an entrepreneur crisis in North America and parts of Australia and Costa Rica, just a few other places. And a thing that is important to mention about ownership is that it's not better or worse. Like, you're not better than your employees because you're the owner. They're not better. There's no better or worse. We need owners, we need employees. And some are owners and some are employees, and you all just happen to be owners. And the truth of who you are is really all that matters in this context. And these first two things, courage and hope, that's pretty much true of any entrepreneur. Any entrepreneur has to have a lot of both. But you all in this room have a third ingredient by virtue of the fact that you're sitting in this room. And that's a growth mindset. A lot of owners are lone wolves. I can do it better, I'm going to do it my way, I'm smarter than everyone, go. But you all are brazen enough to decide that it's smart for you to open your own firm, but humble enough to know that you need help. And you want to be part of something bigger, a community. You want to learn from other people. And today I'm here to help. And the way I'm best equipped to help is far as I can tell, is to give you what I believe is the necessary perspective you need to lock yourself into a state of continuous improvement. That's the goal. You as courageous, hopeful entrepreneurs with a growth mindset, this is who you are, this is what you need. Locking into a state of continuous improvement. And you do that through one little trick. It's called the relentless pursuit of truth. You all might think that you're in the business of helping humans engage with machines, in some way building digital interactions or supporting services that provide those types of functions. Not a single one of you is in any such business at all, in any way. That's not the business you're in. You are in one business, all of you, and it's the same business for all of you. And that's a business of having an impact. As such, the most important question we all, myself included, everyone in this room, can ask as entrepreneurs, as owners, as people who really give a shit and need this business to thrive is, how? What can we do to have the most possible impact? There's a test that you can run yourself to see if you actually just asked that question or not. Or maybe you'll decide to ask it later when you get back to your office. The test is this. If your insides turn to jelly, you ask the question. If they didn't, you didn't. That's a scary-ass question. It's as scary as a question gets. How can you in your firm, given the unique makeup and expertise inside of your firm, how can you actually have the most impact on your clients' businesses? If you're honestly asking that question, you're going to be prepared for a pretty tough answer. And it's the kind of thing, the longer it's been since you last asked it honestly and answered it honestly, the harder it is to do and the scarier it is to do. It's like running a mile. If you ran a mile yesterday and you had to run one today, fine. 10 days ago, sure. 100 days ago, probably run a mile. 1,000 days ago, I have no idea. I mean, I might die if I run a mile. The same is true for this. It's like a gut check for your organization. My firm, Newfangled, started in 1995. And from 1995 to 2015, we were web developers. That's what we did. That's what we were known for. We were proud of it. We were good at it. We were well respected around the country, marketing websites. We adopted Traction in 2015, in May of 2015, and we had to ask ourselves, how can we have the most impact on our clients' businesses? We were expecting kind of an easy answer, but as we actually asked it, we realized, okay, well, is the code we write as web developers, is the code we write so much better than the next company's code that the website we make is actually going to generate more business for our clients? Is that true? Hell no. That is nowhere close to 1 billion miles of being true. And that was terrifying. That day when we realized, whoa, the answer is we don't know what we can do to the most impact. That was one of the most terrifying days of my life. But the sequence of events that were put into play after acknowledging that, yeah, we can do better. The knowledge we have can be used in an entirely different way. Everything has gone beautifully since then. The things we've achieved were prior to that decision, just like mythical in our eyes, like unachievable. This thing, this path, the relentless pursuit of truth, this is the answer, and you've all got it. This all exists for all of you. This is in your blood, it's in your heart, it's in your business. It's simply a matter of what the truth is for your business. And the reason why it's worth going through all this pain is for these. The more positive impact you have on the clients, the happier they are. The more they respect you as the expert, and they trust you to lead the relationship. When that happens, you've got happier, empowered staff. Why? Because your staff is being listened to. You're being sought after as the expert, and then when you're hired, when your staff speaks, your clients listen because they're the experts and they care. That's why they're in this with you. Being heard, when the client stops and looks up, when the third person down the ladder starts talking, that third person down the ladder feels damn good, and that has way more of an impact on that employee than any bump in a 401k or anything else. Respect, acknowledgement, being heard, having an opinion that people care about, that is value, that is employee retention. And when all these things are true, you're going to make more money. It's inevitable. You must make more money if all these things are true. And this all wraps up into something I refer to as the ideal firm. And it's 3 easy things: happy clients, happy empowered staff, more impact, more freedom, and more money. You're having more impact on your clients. Because of that, they give you more latitude. They trust you. They want you to lead. They want your expertise. That's why they hired you. And when they hired you, they gave you more money than they were planning on it because they know that you're the one. You have few, if any, competition. You're the one. So, you courageous, hopeful, growth-oriented people locking into this idea of a continuously improving state, going down this path, the relentless pursuit of truth, becoming the ideal firm, really owning this concept of more impact, more freedom, more money. The container for all of this, how all of this happens, is marketing. I'm not lying or joking, no. Marketing is incredibly misunderstood. But what it is everything we're going to talk about today. And today I'm not going to be offering any tips or tricks. I'm not going to be talking about any specific marketing tools, no technology, none of it. This is not a how-to session. What I want from today is I want you all to leave this session with a clear understanding of the philosophy. I want you to embody the philosophy of marketing so that you understand what it actually is, so that no matter what marketing avenue you pursue, you're going to dominate it. This is the sinew beneath the marketing muscle. You understand this stuff, and it doesn't matter if you pursue content or social or direct or whatever, email, you're going to nail it because you understand the why. This is the why. So we're going to do this in 3 parts. 1, what marketing isn't. 2, what marketing is. And 3, how to market. All good? Okay. What marketing is not. So I don't know if I pulled this off or not, but I was hoping that the first few minutes would be somewhat inspirational and uplifting. If that didn't come off, sorry. When I get excited about something, I get a little intense, and when I get intense, people think I'm mad or something. I'm not mad. I'm actually quite happy. I'm actually ridiculously thrilled and honored to be here. I'm so damn happy to be here right now with you. Despite how happy I am, I'm going to piss you all off right now. And if anyone needs to storm off or throw beer cans or Rotten Tomatoes, if that's still a thing, that's fine. I can dodge it, I think. So the first thing marketing is not is imitation. And the bitter pill today is this. You cannot be huge, so just quit it already. Star worship happens in all industries, right? Everyone emulates the stars. When it's time to figure out your HR policy, well, what did Huge do? Huge obviously is being an example here. When it's time to think about your office, well, what does Huge do? When it's time to think about your biz dev approach, what does Huge do? Your website, what does Huge do? Well, Huge, by virtue of the fact that they're huge, they could put a big white H on a magenta background on the website and have a link that says hire us, and people would click it and hire them. That would work for them. That's not going to work for you. Emulating these guys or this whole idea of star worship and star emulation is such a red herring. There's a conference. It's not this one. It's not at all related to this world. There's a conference, very, very popular conference, and the whole conference is built on this idea of emulation. They bring in these huge name agencies, like the biggest of big agencies around the world. And then all the people who actually attend the conference are agencies that are all like a tenth the size. And all these agencies are talking about how awesome they are, and their processes, and their case studies, and their biz dev wins, and the audience is just drooling for 3 days, and they love it, and they leave that conference with not a single bit of actionable information because all the tactics that work for the giant firms do not work for the regular firms. And being giant, huge or otherwise, it's not the goal. It's not at all the goal. The goal is the ideal firm. More impact, more freedom, more money. That's the goal. Headcount. Headcount is not at all, under any circumstances, at any point, the goal or anything within 1,000,000 miles of the goal. How many people you have does not matter. All that matters is the truth of who you are. If your business, if you need to be a 1,000-person company because of what you do, be a 1,000-person company, that's great. If you need to be a 2-person company, do that, that's great. Anything between, that's great. But the idea of measuring growth as headcount is just ridiculous. Absolutely, wholly ridiculous. It does not matter. It feeds only our egos and nothing else. The best firms, the firms that are most specialized, the firms that make the most money, the firms that have the most freedom, oftentimes, it's not a rule, but oftentimes are the smaller firms. So I just want you to be you. And when it's time to think about what you need to do, look at yourself. Don't look at the stars. Think about what the truth for your firm is. All right, marketing is not imitation. Second thing marketing isn't, it's fantasizing. Does anybody know who this is? Who? Carl. That's actually closer than you know. The other name I heard was Fabio. Yeah. I don't know who that is, but I would certainly not go up to this dude and call him Fabio. I was at the owner camp, the last one, the one in Belize, which was one of the best events I've ever attended. It was just extraordinary. Now, Carl did give me $20 before I came up here, but that's just because he just gives me money all the time. That's how people keep coming back to these events. But honestly, like that event was fantastic. But anyway, it was the first night of the event, opening reception kind of thing. I'd never been to any Bureau of Digital anything, so I didn't know what to expect. And we're sitting on this like dock in this inlet in Belize, and it was just like gorgeous. And this boat starts coming in. I'm like, oh. And it's coming towards our dock. And then someone says, oh, that's the Sparkbox guys. And as they approach the dock, I take out my camera and I take this picture. This is Rob Haar as he's approaching the dock to like show up for the event. It was Rob and his partner and their wives, and it was like this amazing entrance. And everyone was like, kind of like, you know, into it. It was pretty cool. It was like this grand entrance. And it was fun, but then the weird thing is that like he dressed exactly like this the entire rest of the event. Like every session, dinners, all of it. That wristwatch, that belt, those jeans, no more, no less. And yeah, it got kind of weird after a while. But when he was showing up like that, it made me think that marketing, marketing is not fantasizing. Is it okay if I just leave this up for a little while? Is everyone real comfortable with that? Is that cool? You cool with that, Rob? Is this too much of an invasion of privacy for you? Okay, good. Okay. So marketing is not fantasizing. Objects in motion stay in motion. And so the question to ask for all of us is, how was 2018? How was 2018? I'm curious. Good? Amazing? Did it fulfill all your dreams of being an entrepreneur? Right? I think for a lot of us, like, there were some good aspects and some not so good aspects. That's probably the truth for most of us. Some things were great successes, some surprise successes, and some things were failures, surprise failures. But this idea of objects in motion staying in motion, and as an entrepreneur, you get to decide if that's good news or bad news. And one issue here, those three core tenets of the entrepreneurs in this room, courage, hope, and growth, that middle one, hope, just like for all of us, our greatest strength is absolutely our greatest weakness. Hope is really dangerous for us, especially when it comes to changing the firm, because we just kind of believe things will get better, sort of by themselves. Now, we're all hard workers, And we're willing to change, but our inherent optimism can sometimes be our downfall when it comes to this. 2018 was good, okay, great maybe in some cases. And then 2019, we just kind of think it's going to be better. We change a few things, and we have hope. At the beginning of the year right now, we're full of hope. Hopefully, we're full of hope. But then around mid-year, we realize, it's kind of the same as last year. Maybe a little better, maybe a little worse. And if 2018 wasn't a year you want to freeze and hit repeat on for the next 20 years, change is required. And the question is, what are we going to do about it? And fantasizing is not the answer. We have to take action. If we want to see results, we've got to take real action and actually change. Marketing is also not relying on more of the same. So marketing is not relying on referrals. Now, referrals are great. Nothing wrong with referrals, but they're not a biz dev strategy in and of themselves. Referrals are often lateral or down. If you were working with a mid-level manager, that mid-level manager referred you to another mid-level manager or lower-level manager. Very rarely are you successfully referred up the food chain. Okay. The other thing about referrals is they beget more of the same. If you want to change, if you are down this path of the relentless pursuit of truth and you realize, okay, really, we're meant to be this kind of firm, it's going to be really hard to build that way through referrals because you used to do this kind of work. And when change and metamorphosis is required, referrals will not get you there. The other thing is that they're completely outside of your control, for the most part. A lot of firms, many firms, rely way too heavily on one or two referral sources. And if they dry up, the pipeline dries up with it, and that can happen very, very quickly. So it's not, in and of itself, not a sound biz dev strategy. The other thing that's not a sound biz dev strategy is your reputation. Again, a great thing, but you're known as X. And if you want to be known as Y, the reputation is not going to get you there. From my perspective, the thing you want to be known for, the reputation you want to have, is a change agent. You want to be known as the smart, nimble shop that is always ever refining. Not zigzagging all over the place, but responsibly refining and developing your expertise and growing in a clear direction. Leading the way. Trailblazer. That's a good reputation. But your legacy reputation is not going to change who you are as a firm. The last one, and this is the one I'm most concerned about for most firms, is geography. Your location is not a biz dev tool. So many firms are like the go-to local tech shop. That's their thing. And the go-to local tech shop is getting its ass kicked all over this continent. From two directions. From above, the highly specialized experts from out of town, the coveted ones, are swooping in and taking all like the juicy, high-priced, interesting projects. So those are going away. From below, the bread and butter work you used to do, those are being outsourced, those projects, because no one has any issues with outsourcing anymore. It's all cool. Very, very, very little stigma around that. And what's left between the great projects and the bread and butter projects is not much. And all the other local shops in your market are competing for whatever's left over. There's no market that's safe from this. Big cities, small cities, anything. Geography is not a marketing strategy. All right, let's look at what it is. I'm going to start just by defining it. This is my definition. We could debate it. I'd be happy to. It'd be a fun conversation, but as far as I can tell, this is pretty solid. The consistent dissemination of your ever-refining expertise for the purpose of building trust-based relationships with the people in this world you can help the most. To me, that's pretty airtight, and it should sound really familiar by this point in the talk. This is it. Consistent dissemination of your ever-refining expertise. As you build this knowledge, you're sharing that knowledge with the world for the purpose of building relationships with the people you can help the most. The next thing marketing is focus. Again, what can you be the best in the world at? That's one way of asking the question. The other side is the way I've already asked it a number of times. Who can you help the most? One of those two phrases is going to unlock the door for you. They lead to the exact same answer, but they're two different ways of asking it. What can you be the best in the world at? Sometimes that feels a little too big and, I don't know, amorphous. Who are the people you can help the most? For some people, it's easier to get at through that angle. But that's really a seriously honest question. Now, we started this whole thing with courage. You all had the courage to do this, to start your own firm or to buy into your firm. You all had the courage to become owners. And you forget how hard that was. You forget how scary that was. I bet a lot of you do. You know, and if you look at how far you've come, this idea, this thing I'm asking you to do of becoming an expert, of really committing to expertise. Same stuff Dan was asking this morning, the exact same stuff he was asking this morning, just in a slightly different way. This is hard. In fact, it's the single hardest thing about business development. This is the doorway to effective business development. So you can't do anything successfully in business development for the most part. It's really the wind is coming right in your face until you get this thing right. Who are you? Who can you help the most? Once you answer that, and you have the courage and strength and fortitude to answer this because you've done much harder things, aka starting it from the first place and everything you've done since then. Once you answer that, everything else in the biz dev world, all marketing and sales strategies that are worth pursuing are 100% at your disposal. 100%. Without this thing, there is no ideal firm. More impact, more freedom, more money, that does not happen without this. Focus is the door through which all other positive attributes flow when it comes to biz dev. Okay, so this is such an important topic. To get this right, I'm going to give you 2 examples of bureau firms. And we've all been sitting for like the whole day, so I think we could use some exercise. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to stand. If you want to do headstands or planks or burpees, that's cool too. Yeah, doesn't that feel good? Like standing, hey, all right. How many people have standing desks? Just out of curiosity. Yeah, it sucks. Like these conferences, we need standing tables next year, Carl. Not sitting tables, standing tables. I'm sure that's in the budget, right? Maybe those motorized kind so everyone could have standing or sitting. Or just stand in a chair. Okay, so this exercise will only take like 2 minutes or so. Won't take too long. Here's what we're going to do. The thing that we all suffer from is the curse of knowledge. Inside in the curse of knowledge is once we know something, we assume the whole world knows it. It's called the curse of knowledge. And we're blind to it. We're blind to the fact that the whole world doesn't know everything we know. It's a human condition. It just exists. Can't do anything about it. And so inside of our firms, we know who we are. We know how awesome we are. We know that we nailed that project and wow, this client would be perfect for them. We know, and we know all the reasons why. And then we put this statement on our homepage that to us like nails it, like totally describes who we are and what we do and who we serve and all that. Like, to us, it's crystal clear. And the client reads it and it's not. And so we're going to look at 2 examples here. And I want you to keep standing until you read something on this screen that absolutely does not apply to you, that your firm just could not say. Okay? Example number 1. We. I'm changing the first word there to protect the innocent. We lead the way toward a better web. Everyone's still standing for the most part? As we craft responsive websites and web applications. Okay, so anyone involved in actually building something on the web are still standing? We work with teams to create beautiful, valuable products that last. So, oh, no, don't say yet. No, this isn't over. This isn't over. Get back up. Unless anyone who just creates like ugly junk things that fall apart instantly, you can sit down. But that doesn't. Okay, so we've got more than half the room still standing. And what's really interesting about this is I bet at least a dozen of you aren't sure if this is your position statement on your homepage. And I've seen a few of you check your phone to see. This is an amazing firm. This is a really extraordinary bureau firm. Highly respected inside these 4 walls and outside. They're great. A lot of you would probably trade places with them. But I'm using them to show that like even the great ones look the same. Example number 2. E-commerce rescue for wearable brands. If you can't say that, sit down. Okay, I think that might have registered on like the Richter scale a little bit there, right? This is an expert. This is a badass. This is Sarah Bacon. She's just top to bottom extraordinary, as is her firm, Command C, and they do e-commerce rescue for wearable brands. And a lot of people have no idea what the hell that means, and that's awesome. Because the ones who do know what that means know what that means. And when they get to her site, and when they get her content, and when they get her emails, and when they listen to her podcast, they feel like she exists just for them. And the consideration set in that buyer's mind goes from this big to that big in about 10 seconds. And the deck is stacked in her favor. This is differentiation. This is expertise. Now, it was not very long ago at all that her site was just e-commerce. E-commerce. And if I put that up there, most of you would probably still be standing, because most of you probably do some level of e-commerce. But the truth of what this firm was is this. The relentless pursuit of truth led her to this understanding, just an understanding of who she was all along, who the firm was all along. It's not just her. And this reality is true for so many of you. I would wager to bet all of you. And look at you. You're in this room. You're here in Austin for 4 days. You are successful. If you could afford to be here, you've made it. You're successful. You can do this stuff. None of this is beyond you. This is wholly attainable. There's no excuse. The last thing marketing is belief in a better future. And so like when you got into this entrepreneurship on day one, like the very first day, just think of the first day, either you just started doing some things on the side, or you just jumped right in, whatever it might be, or you're working for a firm and you started to buy in, whatever it was. Once the money was on the table and you were an owner, you were just like fueled by this boatload of adrenaline. Like everything was there, your vision, you were gonna make this work. Like the entrepreneurial fire was just alive in you. It had to be, or else you're just playing crazy, right? But then, reality shows up. Maybe an office space, a couple employees, bills, taxes, 1 or 2 really nasty client relationships. In the entrepreneurial fire, dead ends, and we all start to kind of settle. And we're just kind of happy to have a job. And we forget why we started it. We forget where we meant to go. And this fire that you created, no one put it in you. You had it. It was just there, and it's still there. And it's your hope. It's your courage, your understanding, like, yeah, I can do this. I'm here for a reason. I'm doing this stuff. That fuel, the closer you stand to that reality of the greatness that you are, the more immune you are to just the endless storm of business junk that just, is hard to deal with day to day. But we chose to take up this mantle. Like, we're owners. We're doing this. We've got to do it. And this is the way to do it. The relentless pursuit of truth. More impact. More freedom. More money. Those are good things. And we all deserve it. But we've got to work for it. We've got to continuously work for it. This job is never, ever done. Okay, last section. How to market. Okay. Marketing has only 2 fuel sources. That's it. First is money. So you could buy a bunch of ads, you could hire people to market for you, you could hire an outbound calling service to smile and dial and just like annoy the hell out of everybody. You could do things like that. You could take on a biz dev staff if you wanted to. You can try to buy your way out of this. That's an option. And there are times when some of those tactics make sense in certain situations. The other fuel source is knowledge. It doesn't cost anything. Here's the argument for knowledge. A call it the cycle of marketing enlightenment. Step 1, commit to serving a specific audience. Create content for that audience. That content that's solely about the overlap between your expertise and their pain points will attract members from that audience, and some of them will hire you. As you do that work in that section, in that category, you develop more expertise, and then repeat. There's this constant play between impact and expertise, impact and expertise. More impact leads to more expertise leads to more impact. It's this back and forth that never, ever, 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 ever stops. And once you get on that train, you are on that train because you see how powerful it is. This is it. Every single job you do, once you commit to a specific audience, is going to make you a deeper and deeper and deeper expert with fewer and fewer and fewer competitors. That commands a higher and higher and higher fee. Right? This is how it goes. This cycle allows you to bet on yourself and not just like pay somebody off. It's evergreen and exponential. The article you write today is going to be like a little biz dev rep for you that's going to exist out there for another 5 to 10 years. Blair, who's speaking next, published a book 8 years ago that still sells tens of thousands of freaking copies, and I'm damn jealous. But 8 years ago. And it probably didn't take him long to write it. It took him a really long time to develop the expertise to write it, but the act of writing, I bet, didn't take that long. And it's been serving now for 8 years and counting. Like it doesn't show any signs of stopping. When you take the time to share your expertise, that is going to be out there for years and years and years. And you contrast that to money. If I'm going to buy an ad and invest in buying an ad, the moment that ad's done running, the value's gone. It's over. I'm not going to get any residual benefit from that ad. If I hire an outbound sales company, the moment they place their last call, value's over. If you invest in yourself and just invest in your expertise, and when I talk about you, I'm talking about your firm, you and all the people you work with. When you invest in that, it's invaluable. And the last part here is time is on your side with this. Because this cannot be purchased, it has to be earned. If you go down this path and decide to become the committed expert, say a year from now, a competitor realizes, oh, they're doing that, and like I heard that they're doing pretty well. What's going on? And they check out what's going on, and they go to your site, and they see how you're doing it, like, all right, we're going to do that too. They're doing that a year after you start doing it. You have a very real and nearly insurmountable year-long head start on that individual because this stuff's hard. It requires a tremendous amount of focus and discipline. Very few firms have it in the first place. No firms I've ever seen have the ability to double down on it. So every step you take down this path, your competition is further and further and further in the distance. So this is how to market. The last thing I'm going to look at here is a bit to do with tools, just to give some context around this. But this will only come into play once all of this undergirding is solidly in place. So the digital marketing model is comprised of 3 things: strategy, technology, and habits. Those are the 3 things you need to pull off an effective marketing strategy, plan, program, whatever you want to call it. On the strategy side, we have 3 elements. First is positioning, a lot of what we're talking about now. Once you do commit to a target, then you can amass the correct contact strategy. Who are the people in the world that can help the most? Well, let's go find those people. Let's build up a list of those people. By the way, just in case you want a quick note, we need 5,000 to 10,000 of those people. 5,000 to 10,000 of those people in order for this to be a viable platform. Once we have that, then the content strategy. This is the dissemination of your expertise. The consistent dissemination of expertise is content strategy. That's the definition. That's what it is. This is the strategy. If this isn't in place, it does not matter what else you do with your marketing, it won't do anything. But if this is in place, then you owe it to yourself for doing all this hard work and necessary work to actually give it a chance to perform for you by implementing the right technology, the right business development website, the right outbound email strategy, and the right use of LinkedIn, which in most cases, for most of you, is going to be your best platform for off-site publication. This is the foundation, the strategy and the technology. But what's really going to dictate the success of it is whether or not you use it. A lot of firms, probably all of us, have at one point tried blogging or something. We probably all purchased some kind of technology related to marketing, and we probably all feel different levels of guilt about how much we use those things. What happened to those strategies? What happened to that technology? So developing the right habits inside of the organization is critical, but entirely possible. I've not yet met a single firm that just can't do this, right? It's entirely possible. And if you do all this initial stuff first, then it's as clear as day. It's clear as day. At our breakouts this morning at 11 o'clock, is it Vern? Vern? Yeah. Vern said something that I've said 1,000 times, I've never heard anyone else say, but it's exactly right. Once, when he was working on his own content, actually, can you just explain it? Can you say it? Oh, you don't like to yell too much. All right, I'll say it for you. Vern said that when he sat down to write his content, one time he just decided to think of an individual. Think of an individual, and once he thought of that individual, like the kind of person he was writing to, and he thought of a specific person, and the words just flowed. It was almost effortless. It just all came out. It just unlocked his mind. And that's what this does. This whole philosophy, this unlocks your understanding of what you can do. Once you've got that in play, all this stuff is so wholly attainable. Okay, so in summary, you people are courageous, hopeful, growth-oriented entrepreneurs who are hell-bent on continuous improvement. Wouldn't be true. You wouldn't be here if that weren't true. The way to do that is the relentless pursuit of truth. Who are you really? Who are you best equipped to serve? Where can you have the most impact? When you commit to that path, you will absolutely achieve the status of the ideal firm and have more impact, have more freedom, have more money. You cannot be huge. You're not going to look as good as Rob does without a shirt on. That's okay. You can absolutely be almost as badass as Sarah Bacon. She's the same as all of you. She's the same as all of us. She's extraordinary, an extraordinary individual, but she doesn't have some superpower that allowed her to do this that you don't have. And at this moment, there's not a single thing keeping you from starting now. Identify the audience you want to serve. Commit to creating empathetic, educational content for those people, and then put the right systems in place to allow you to get the most benefit from all that hard work. But this marketing thing's just a bunch of crap. I don't really, whatever. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Appreciate it.
Do I get to throw this?
You can if you want. We got a little time for Q&A. Anybody got questions?
Pavel? Oh boy. I don't know if I want to throw this, actually.
No, throw it.
I'm kind of scared. Really? All right. Oh, it's too short. Oh, no, I made it.
I like how Blair moves his drink.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2. It works. Okay. Yeah, thank you for the talk. And yeah, content marketing seems to be important thing and seems to be right way to go. Could you give maybe practical advice on 2 points? First of all, how would you recommend to generate topics ideas? That's first point. And how do you think we're all here busy doing our businesses, working with clients. How do you think what's optimal time per month owner of studio can spend on writing articles? If maybe we should somehow outsource it by maybe write a thesis and give it to copywriting. Maybe what are the best approaches? Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the first question was, how do you come up with enough topics or the right topics? And 2, where do you find the time? Perfect. Thank you. Nearly planted questions. Okay, so topics. Once you go down this path and once you understand who you're going to serve, the well is tapped and there's no end of topics. It flows, it'll never go dry. That cycle of marketing enlightenment, committing to an audience, creating content for them, working with them, repeat, that thing, the work you do is going to give you endless amounts of information, endless amounts of understanding. That's your market research, is the work you do. When you focus on a specific target and you work in that target, you just know more and more and more and more, and then you start seeing the patterns that connect all these different things, and then things really kick into a completely different gear. And so the topics, just think about your clients and their need. Now, when you serve everybody, when you're full service and you work with everybody, you can't think of topics. It's like, what are you going to write that everyone's going to be interested in? Like, there's nothing. You're frozen, complete frozen. That's a non-starter. But when you do this stuff, that's why today, like I said, I want you to have the undergirding. I want you to understand the philosophy. If you do this, all these answers are like easy. The second answer, time. Okay. The first part of the answer is who. Who in the firm? It's not just the owner. It cannot just be the owner. You need to think, given the expertise that we're committing to, who are the people inside of the firm who have that expertise? There should be a couple of you at least, ideally 3 to 5 of you at most. But we want to look at those people, the 1 to 5 people involved, and those individuals should be able to spend and need to spend basically 1 business day a month, 8 hours a day, not consecutive, but 8 hours of time. Sorry, 8 hours a month. 8 hours of time over the course of a month that they will be creating content. Now, a critical part of this is communication styles. Some people like to write, some people like short form, some people long form, some people, you put a pen and paper in front of them, they freeze, they need to just talk. That's okay, play to their communication styles. Recording things, transcribing them, there are lots of good approaches to this, but basically, if you spend roughly 8 hours of time per individual per month, and you have 3 to 5 individuals, that will allow you to generate the necessary content allotment of 3,000 words per month, roughly. Okay?
I know Pavel wants to go again. Or do you have a follow-up?
Any suggestions how to distribute this as you're good to? How to distribute the content since you have it? Yeah, to post on your site is good, but if you don't have many visitors, okay, Medium also good, but I don't know.
Yes. Okay. So volume is critical here. Okay, volume is critical here. What we need in terms of the metrics, we need 100 unique visitors per day, per weekday to our website. Many of us have 20 or so. So we need to a 5-fold increase on that. 100 unique visitors per day to the website. We need to have 5,000 to 10,000 people on that email list. A lot of us here have maybe 1/10 of that, right? These are critical metrics. And these metrics generate the right volume on the website, and there are ways to get to both of those. So you need to post this content on your website. As you post the content to the website and you are a committed expert, Google's going to see that, and Google's going to understand what you're known for. And that's why I mentioned earlier, it's evergreen exponential. I didn't mention the exponential part because I carried away with Blair's book. Exponential means that the more Google understands who you are, the more and more people are going to send to you. So getting up to the 100 is entirely possible. Roughly 2,000 unique visitors per month, but it's about the content. Then outside of that, we've got the outbound system with email. 5,000 to 10,000 people on that list, and there are different ways of accumulating that. We can talk about that some other time. And then LinkedIn also, which allows you to get most value from both your email list and your content. So those 3 channels are what generate the right content volume ultimately. This is a long haul. This is not an overnight thing. Like I said, this is earned, and it takes time to actually build up the engine. But once that engine's running, it's running. You had a question.
Well, that's actually my question. How for text, reaching your audience, how to...
Yes, so good catch. So it's the same.
The last question was pretty much
You can flip it.
my
Yeah.
question.
That was the question. Okay,
for,
okay.
For tips for reaching your audience.
Yeah, and inbound, outbound, LinkedIn. But that 5,000 to 10,000 email thing is really critical. And to that list, you need to send 2 to 4 emails per month, ideally on the 2 to 3 side. But that's going to be not very well received if you don't have expert content. This cannot be promotional. It has to be wholly educational, highly targeted content for this highly targeted list. 5,000 to 10,000 sounds like a lot, but it's not actually a lot. Any other questions? One more there. Yeah.
All right.
All right, here it goes.
I don't throw very well.
Can you punt it? Can you just kick it? Yeah.
So on your slide where you're saying the strategy of positioning, so if you're repositioning your agency that you've had for a long time and you've got old blog posts and you've got clients on your list that don't conform to your new position, I mean, do you just rip it all out and start over, or do you still market to the old people, or what do you recommend on that one?
Mm-hmm. So your domain name is an extraordinary asset and has built up a lot of legacy credit. And so that needs to be taken into consideration. What some firms do is they just keep the generalist firm site intact as it is today and don't really touch it, and they create a new site for the specialist firm. That's the only thing that's different. There are no new people, there's no new office space, there's nothing else new. There's just like another site that has a different name and is just about this particular category. That's easy, like that's an easy answer to this. The problem with that is that you're starting from scratch with your domain reputation, and that means the earning factor, getting up to those 100 unique visitors per day, weekday, is just gonna take a lot longer. Now, the other thing you do is take your current site and yeah, morph it. Now, your clients are not gonna go to your site, your clients that are happily working with you and say, well, that's not me, I'm not gonna work with you anymore. That's not gonna happen. They're gonna keep working with you. You can tell them the story. Hey, listen, we're focusing this way. We are 100% here for you and committed to this, and this is great. We love the relationship. But for net new business, we realize we're really good at this particular thing, and over the next 3 years, we're gonna be doing more and more of that. But you are locked in, and we're very happy to work with you as long as that's true, right? And so that's probably the way to maximize your current assets most effectively. Okay, thank you all so much. Oh, you have a question? Okay, we're good.